Hey guys, Heidi Easley here, Texas Art and Soul, and I teach women how to make money teaching paint parties. And today I want to do something kind of interesting with y'all. So I'm really excited to talk to you for a few minutes. So as you get on, just tell me who you are, where you're from, and then get out a pen and paper. It doesn't have to be a journal, but this is what I'm using because I love this. Hey Terry, hey guys, go ahead and say hi when you come on. So I'm using this journal. It's one of my favorites. It's a Katie Daisy journal. Anyway, I get it from Barnes and Nobles, but I use it when I go to church, I'll write stuff. I also write like letters to God in here. And I also write, I'm writing my 100 things. So here's what I want to do this afternoon. Okay, so I want to challenge you to write 100 things. So a little bit earlier, hey Melissa, I probably should have grabbed a drink because I just threw a bunch of cashews in my mouth and now I'm probably gonna choke on them. Hopefully not. Hey guys, go ahead and say hi when you get on here. So first off, I want to talk about what do you want life to look like in a year? Okay, so right now is it's an eerie, strange time. Let's just be honest about it. It is a different time. A lot of people, and not just us in the paint party business, but a lot of people are, trying to figure out how to pivot. They're trying to figure out, how is life going to look after this? I mean, people are, they're scared, they're nervous and all of these things. But remember, we talked about it, last night or the night before, how we know, fear is not of God. We know that, right? So we, at this moment, we have the opportunity over the next, we don't know how long this is going to be. We don't know if it's a few weeks, a few months, whatever the case is. But we need to have a reset. So for example, here's what I'm challenging you to do today. Okay. So if you're with me after you hear the challenge, let me know. I would love to know if you're with me. So, I did this at the beginning of the year with my paint party headquarters group, and a lot of them had a lot of fun with this. So I wanted to challenge you to do it too. So what I want you to do is write down 100 things. Oh, Christine, that's awesome. She says her virtual paint parties and paint kits are booming. That's wonderful. Yes, sometimes you get pushed into stuff that you don't even know that you were gonna do, right? So what I want to challenge you, so who has their paper and pen? Anybody? Put yes if you do. Oh, I'm so glad you're catching it live. And Laria, I think I said that right, hopefully. And Lisa, we have a paint party headquarters sister here. That's wonderful. So put a yes if you're going to do the challenge. Now here's what the challenge entails. I want you to write out 100 things, okay? So I am going to be posting a post later today, and you have until Friday to post. You can put part of your 100 things if you want, if you don't want to share it all. And you can put, I did it, whatever the case is. I'm going to do a post, and then out of that, I'm going to choose one person and give a prize to, a gift card. I'm going to mail a gift card. Actually, I'll probably do an electronic gift card because it's probably not the smartest thing to be mailing a lot of stuff right now. So here's what it is. The reason I want you to write this is because the other day I was watching, there's many reasons, okay? So sometimes in this type of environment, it causes us, we go through all the stages, right? We go through panic, we go through scared, we go through, oh my gosh, what's happening? We go through, oh, are we gonna lose our jobs? Or my family gonna lose our jobs? We go through all of these different stages. But what this opportunity allows for us to have is a chance to reset and to really think about what we want out of life. So I started my list, at the beginning, well, actually November. I think I started at the beginning of the year, but I just wrote it on the November part. But I want you to write out every single thing that you want out of life, okay? You can write out, I want my family to be healthy. I want to go to Hawaii. That's a huge goal and dream of mine, to go to Hawaii. I want, I just got an email that you were here. Awesome. Oh, good. Yay. And I want you to write out any single thing that you want out of life. And the reason why, there's two reasons. The first reason, I watched that show, This Is Us. I love that show. Anybody else watch This Is Us? And Mandy Moore, she's the mom on there, and she had this moment where she said, next time, I'll do that next time. And it really hit home for me because how many of us have something we want to do in life and we say, we'll do it next year. We'll do it, later. Like we'll do it in a month. We'll do it next time. We'll do it whenever the kids graduate. We'll do that fun trip once we retire. That's been like a huge pet peeve of mine. Like I am not waiting until retirement to start my life. There is no way I'm waiting till retirement to start my life. And there's so many people that have lived with that perspective. And then something like this hits us and it causes us a time for reset. So you're going to have a couple of ways that you react to this, okay? We're all going to have different ways that we react, but then you can either look at this as like, okay, next year this time, do I want to look back and go, I didn't just crawl in a hole and cry forever. Like, which it's okay if you did. Like, it's okay. Like we all have our moments where, it does get scary and it feels a little heavy, a lot heavy, and I get that. But are we going to take this time to reflect? Some of the coolest things have been birthed out of, having to be isolated or, having that time to stop and reflect. So what I want y'all to do is write out 100 things. Now, you're going to probably find that when you get to about 30, it's going to be hard to continue. Because we all, at the end of the day, we want to be healthy. We want our family to be healthy. We want all of these things, right? But most of them are the necessities. They're the things that everybody wants. But what I want to challenge you with is starting to dream. Like, what are your big dreams? Not everybody's is travel, a lot of people's are different. I want to challenge you to dream. And I want you to literally write down impossible things, dream impossible dreams and write them down. Because a lot of times you'll find that they're not so impossible. When you start to look at them and make a plan towards them, you start to realize, oh my gosh, I could actually do this. Okay, I could possibly do this. Creating a safe place for Pixie is one of my big things on my 100. All right, so whenever you write this down, a giant art studio. I feel like I'm getting there. I'm trying to organize now, so it feels even bigger. Fun trips with Pixie in her new school. One of my big dreams, and has been for decades, is pretty much since I started driving. I'm 40. I could have easily made this dream happen so many times. I want a new Bronco or a Scout. Not like the brand new ones. I want the old school one that runs really good but looks really cool. I have wanted that for 20 years. No, 25 years since I pretty much started driving. But I've never made it happen. So I finally wrote it down. So I'm going to make that happen. It may not be this year. It may not be in 5 years. But, what if it happens in the next 10 years? I finally started leading towards it. So I want you to write that down. And another thing I want to remind you of. So I want you to be able to, when we all look back on this in a year, wherever we're at, we could have really taken this time to be angry, to not be grateful. There's a lot of people that don't even, we're stuck in our homes. Oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. But some people don't even have a home to go to, so instead of being, and I don't know where you're at in this. You might be in the stage where you're still scared. I want to encourage you to, talk to God. Fear is a liar. Fear is a liar. It is there to suck you in and to make you not move forward, right? Fear is a liar. Or you can go, these are the cards that have been dealt. What am I going to do? And how can I reflect and intentionally look at this pivotal time in history? This is pivotal. A pivotal time in history where I can make a change, or maybe I can dream, or maybe I can look at something different. Over 10 years ago when I went bankrupt, lost everything. We had just built on the room for Pixie. We had to move to an apartment. All of those things happened, and we were at baseline. We had no money. We thankfully still had jobs, and a lot of people right now are struggling with that. But we were it was one of those points where it was we were just wiped, and I was so depressed, and I took way longer in that sadness than I should have. And so I wanted to get on here because I don't want y'all to be stuck in that sadness. I want you to start dreaming. When all of this crap, goes away, which eventually we will get through this. We will. when we get through this, like, what are we going to get excited about? And what are we going to stop going, next time? I'll do that next time. And instead be like, no, I'm going to make this happen next year. Like, I'm done. I'm done playing the victim. I am done waiting for something else to happen. And I'm going to make my dreams happen now. So I just want to encourage you to write your 100 things down. People who start writing their goals, their dreams. Yes, some of these, I can't go to Hawaii right now because I can't fly there. Like, it's impossible at this moment. However, that is a huge dream of mine. So I'm going to do everything in my power as soon as all of this happens to start making that stuff happen. So whenever I did my bankruptcy, I felt awful, like so depressed. I actually turned to art to heal. That's when I started painting my mini surfboards. And from that, I took my mini surfboards to the school I was teaching at in Florida, and 150 kids, I taught 850 kids a week. So it was a constant cattle call. So all of y'all that are teachers right now, that you're at home and you're doing lesson plans and you're having to do everything virtually now, all of those people, I was teaching them and they were coming in and I didn't tell anybody about it. I was so embarrassed. And I was sad. I was depressed. I was embarrassed. I was taught, you can borrow as much money as you want, but you pay it back. Like, that's how I was raised. So now I want to be in the place where I don't have to, hopefully not have to borrow. Like, my goal is to be debt free. Like, I listen to Dave Ramsey all the time. So my goal is to not have to have anybody to pay back. But when I was in that position, we lost everything, and I started painting these surfboards because I was just trying to get out of the pain. I was really just trying to get out of the just sadness of where I was. And about 150 kids, I'd get 30 to 40 people at a time. If you're in a public school system and you're the art teacher, you know how many kids come to your room. So sometimes I would have anywhere from 30 to 40 kids at a time. And they kept seeing those surfboards and they go, Miss Easley, please put my name on that. Miss Easley. And I go, no, this is mine. I'm painting it. Leave it alone, right? And we'd go on our lesson plan. And they go, no, Miss Easley, you need to, please. And I said, no. And then after about the 150th kid said it, I was finally, God's beating me on my head. And finally I was like, oh my gosh, I really think I could sell these. I think I could sell these and make some money to get our family out of this crazy position. And so what happened from that, again, this is from me being at zero, lost our house, lost our cars. And, we had built on a room for Pixie where I thought I was going to raise her. And, I had painted a whole Tinkerbell mural, everything. We had done it all. I literally thought that was the house I was going to raise her in. And then when we had to leave it, just to show you how emotional I was, we had put up all of these shelves, and I had, I'm not an organized person. I had every single outfit of hers organized by the 6 months to the 12 months, the 12 months to the 24. I had all of her toys organized. It was just the most perfect room. And when we left there, I was so sad that I told Bobby, I said, I'm taking her shelves. Looking back, I'm like, I was an idiot, right? Why did I take her shelves? Somebody else could have really enjoyed that. But at that time, I did not know how to deal with it. And so I literally had Bobby rip those shelves out, and I put them in the closet of our apartment, which we never even used the shelves again. I feel bad about that, but that's it was no, this is, everything's been ripped from me. These shelves are coming with me. That's how emotional I was and so upset about it. And so during that time, birthed the surfboards. And from that, despair and sadness and grief, I ended up, taking those surfboards to Pier Park and asking them if I could rent a space and sell them. And so as soon as I did, and for the person, I know somebody on here is listening, they wanted the captions. I will add the captions after this. Don't worry. Whenever the replay comes on, the captions will come on too. So you'll know how to do the challenge. What happened from that is we ended up setting up a spot in Panama City Beach. Okay, so he let me rent this literally, if you go to Pier Park in Panama City Beach, there's a Starbucks. Well, right in front of that Starbucks, they now have a airbrush tattoo shop. Well, before that was my little 10 by 10 put together with tables covered, and I rented the space for, at that time, it was $1,000 a month. which I didn't have. So my mother-in-law was like, hey, let's do this together. I'm going to help you with the money, and then we'll split everything 50-50. So everything was a 50-50 split. So we went to work. We had me, my husband, and Pixie was little bitty at the time. We had my mother-in-law and my stepdad Eddie, and we all sawed these surfboards. So we would go get wood, we would saw them, we would route them, and we would make these surfboards. Well, we get ready to set up, and I'm getting hope. Like, I'm getting excited again. Like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be okay. And life isn't over as we know it. And then yeah, Francine, don't worry. I'll go ahead and do the captions right now. It won't let me do the captions right now, but I will do them. And so we're getting ready to set up, and nobody is buying, and I'm like freaking out. And so my mother-in-law, she senses my frustration, and she's like, Heidi, let's go, over here. And I was like, because what do? When you failed, you've gone bankrupt, you're not even 30, everything in life seems to be falling apart. You go to Buffalo Wild Wings and you have a drink, right? That's what you do. Back when I drank, so I don't drink anymore at the moment. I don't drink. I took a vow to not drink last year, and now I've upped that vow for one more year. So I'll let you know December 31st if I choose to drink again, which I don't think I will, but who knows? I don't think I will. So I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, and I'm, taking a drink, and, another one, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, that was plan B. Like, we have no other plans. Like, I'm living in an apartment, and, we put everything into this thinking this is going to work. Like, this is going to happen, and then that's failing. And I'm just like, another drink in. I'm like, this is awful. I'm not even 30 and I have failed this much. I mean, just the sickness and the despair of being so embarrassed, right? I was just so embarrassed to talk about it. I didn't talk about it. I was so embarrassed. I was trading my car, like a car would get repoed, and then I'd get another car, and that one wasn't working well, and then I have to go give that one. I mean, it was just a nightmare. And then I was telling my friends, oh, I just wanted to get a different car, of course they probably saw through it. They were just probably being nice to me now that I look back on it. But, in that time, I didn't know why all this was happening. I had no idea God had this big plan, for this. So about 3 drinks in and a little tipsy, if I might add, my husband calls me, and he's like, Heidi, you got to get over here. We have orders. And I'm like, no, you're lying, and I'm just, again, like, whatever, life is over, right? And he's like, no, you've got to get over here. We have orders. And so I look at Sheree, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he says we have orders. And so I hang up, and I tipsily walk across the street, and I go over there, and I said, I looked at my husband, and he had these paper tickets, because we put everything on paper tickets, and he's holding them up, and he's like, get to painting, we have orders. And in that moment, I was flat on my face, thought I was done for the count. Everything was over. In your 20s, you don't realize that we get 500 chances. Like, we keep getting more chances. We can fail and fail and fail and fail and just get back up, right? But when you're, in your late 20s, you don't know that. Like, you just think, I failed too much and it's done. I'm done for, I'm cooked, it's over, right? And so in that moment, I was like flat on my face, before I saw the tickets, thinking like, this is it. Like, there's no way out. There's no way out. Why try? And then I see my husband, and he's holding these tickets out, and he's like, Heidi, get to painting. And it was like a whole stack of tickets. And living in Panama City Beach, I should have known this, but everybody's at the beach during the day, and then at night they're at Pier Park to eat and to shop and to buy. And so all of a sudden I looked at those tickets, and it was like God had like scooped me up and held me and said, not only is it going to be okay, Heidi, but you are going to be able to do what you love forever, which is painting, which is what I've always loved. Since I was 14 years old, I've painted, self-taught. And in that moment, I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, it gave me this unshakable confidence. And, at the time of losing it all, at the time of moving my daughter from her perfectly placed room into an apartment, and, the uncertainty of everything, at that time of, just displacement, uneasiness, feeling like the biggest failure in the world, not realizing most of the world was going through the same thing. And and I want y'all to realize that right now. A lot of us are like, it's about me. I'm struggling. I'm isolated. I'm alone. No, the whole world is going through this right now. This is not just you. And I wish I would have realized that it wasn't just me during that time. And so now I know that, like I look at our situation and I'm so thankful, for our situation. And then I have to always remind myself, not everybody has it as well. Not everybody has a home to go to be isolated in. Not everybody has, an extra can of beans sitting there or food, or even the money to go, grab extra food if you want it. Not everybody has that. And I think right now, a lot of people are going into a place of, this is never going to end. It's over as we know it. My job is insecure. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. And we think it's all just us. And we have to stop and remember that this isn't just you. The entire world is scared and facing that same thing. And so as I've gone through losing, bankruptcy, losing all of it, being stripped of, square one, starting from square one. Again, this is a virus, so it is different. I understand that. It is totally a different beast altogether. But what I want you to take out of this is I want you to take a couple things. I want you to take the fact that you're not alone, that we're all feeling this, and that we can choose how we want to handle it. Again, out of my bankruptcy, birthed a business where we ended up selling over 1,000 surfboards in less than 2 months, with me working 3 days a week, 12 to 16 hours a day. I'm not going to lie, but I knew every single time I was painting a surfboard, I knew that was $20 more towards my family's future, $20 more where I would be okay. And so what I want you to take from this is, what are you going to do during this time? And I highly, highly recommend, because this too shall pass. If you read the Bible, you know the ending. You know how it ends. And it's easy. It is so easy to have faith when things are good. So easy. But it's not as easy to have faith when things are hard. And this is where things are hard. And we have to remember that God is still in control. Fear is a liar, and we have to have faith even when times are hard. So I want to challenge you to write down 100 things. So when this is over, whenever the time passes, when we start, coming back to life and we're all doing our things, how do you want to remember a year from now? So in a year, you're going to be able to look back, just like when I look back on my bankruptcy. I saw this, during my bankruptcy, I couldn't see God's work. I could not see God's work during that time. I knew He was helping me, but I couldn't see why He was bringing me through those lessons. I could not see it. I just knew, okay, God's helping me through this, but I couldn't see all that was going to come of this. I had no idea I was going to be running a virtual business where I'd be able to talk to y'all about this. I had no idea. No idea. Now I look back and I go, okay, that all makes sense. Now I know why I hurt so bad. Now I know why I went through all that. Now I know why, I had to go through that process. But in the midst of that crazy, scary time, we ended up birthing a surfboard business, which turned me into an entrepreneur, which I thought literally I would be an art teacher for the rest of my life. And now I'm like, I love creating a business. I love creating businesses with art. I love helping people create businesses with art. And now I look back and I know that was the beginning of that. I had to be stripped of everything to take that risk. I would have never found that if I wouldn't have been stripped of everything and took that risk. And so what I want you to do is, how do you want to look back on this in a year? Do you want to look back on this in a year and go, I just holed up and cried and was so sad, and the sky is falling, and didn't even think about anybody else and thought it's only happening to me? Or do I want to look back in a year and go, okay, I got some extra time. What can I create out of this? And I want that to start first with your list, your 100 things that you're dreaming of. And so how many are going to take the challenge? Because I'm going to post something later today, and then I'm going to answer if y'all have any questions on this. I'm going to answer some questions, but I want y'all to post in here if you're going to take the challenge, because I'm going to do a post later today. And then when you take the challenge, I'm going to let you put in there that you took the challenge, and you're welcome to take a picture. You can, if you don't want to share it all, because like mine's personal, I'll share some of mine, but I don't want to share all of mine. Because, some of them are personal, and that's okay to not share everything with everybody, but you can write it down, right? So you can either take a picture like challenge started or whatever, and then I'm going to pick one person to do the gift card for. So I'll probably ask Alexa to say a number, and then I'll just kind of count down and give somebody a gift card. So you're going to take the challenge. So, we got my dad on. Mr. Rod Stewart is watching. He just had his 3-year anniversary of his heart transplant. Another reason why I don't pray small anymore. Another reason why I know God is in control. Because if he can put a new heart in my dad, he can do anything. So expect miracles. So challenge accepted. So Joan's taking it. Jennifer's taking it. Melissa, Kay, Elaine, and Rhonda. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So here's a few little tips for taking the challenge, okay? Oh, thank you, Lana. So here's a few little tips. So I started with, this is what I write to God a lot. So here's what I wrote. I put what I'm asking God for. And I put, God, I love you, and your scripture says ask. God, I know you are doing great things for me. And then I put the Bible verses here. John 16, 23 through 24. So y'all feel free to look these up, because they talk about us asking God for things that we want and how he wants things for us, right? So I put John 16, 23 through 24. So if anybody can type this out, that would be awesome. So John 16, 23 through 24. Hey, Dad. Wendy says she's accepting. Jerry is accepting. Trisha. And Arlene is accepting. Yay, Arlene. How are you doing? Good to see you on here. John 14, 13. I want you to write that one down. John 14, 13. And then I always say this wrong, so please forgive me. But Habakkuk, I don't know how to say that. Habakkuk, whatever. I don't know how to say that. 2, 2. And then I also want you to write down John. I can't read the rest of my writing. I think it's probably the 14:13 again. Sorry, I can't read the rest of what I wrote there. Okay, so like just a couple of mine really quick is my health complete. Like, I've talked about my heart device and how sometimes I just get nervous because like I had Bell's palsy, so sometimes this part of my face stops working. So if you ever see me on video and you see that like this part is doing weird things, it's just part of it. We all have a story, right? And I have health for family. Those are like my top 2. Great fun marriage. So this year, when I wrote this year, me and Bobby started a monthly date. So we have a teenager in the house, and we have an only child. So we love doing stuff with her. Like, we have so much fun together. And so it's been really hard to go, okay, we're going to go do this fun thing, but we're leaving you here. So, it's a lot of times our family has been like, everything is with Pixie. And, she's graduating in 4 years, and it'll be just me and Bobby. And so I don't want to look in 4 years and go, oh crap, like that was really fun with Pixie, but now what do we have in common, right? So we started implementing, intentionally a monthly date, and we have to, Habakkuk, thank you, Habakkuk. Maybe I'm saying that right, Tiffany. I don't know. Y'all forgive me. Again, I never claim to be a Bible scholar. I just try to listen to what I think God's telling me and read the Bible. So I don't know all of the word. I still use the table of contents. So just so y'all know. So we started a monthly date. So for 1 month, he plans it. The next month, I plan it. So we alternate who plans it. And then we went through the calendar. This was back in January. Like I said, we did this in January, but I thought it was really timely for right now, since we're all kind of doing a reset. We all kind of have moments right now to look at our life and kind of figure out how we want it to look. And when I write these 100 things down, it's not that I'm writing these down and say, I'm going to do this in a year. That is not what the purpose is. The purpose is for you to write it down, to see that, usually you'll get to about 30 and then it's hard. You're like, what else is there? What else is there to write? And it's really hard. And then you'll start to allow yourself to dream. you'll start to allow yourself to go like, what if money was not an option? What would I want? And you'll find that usually it's not like a yacht or a helicopter, like some of y'all it may be. But for the most part, usually the things that you really want out of life, we're all very similar. Like some of y'all, it might just be like, I want to learn how to bake. Like I've really wanted to start this garden. I've talked about it forever. Not me. I'm not a garden person. I tried. It did not work. But you'll start to realize that some of your dreams that you have that you've been holding back on forever really aren't that hard to get. And so what happens is when you actually write it down, and I wrote a prayer and asked God for it. God, I know you're doing great things for me. And, God, I love you. And your scripture says ask. And so here I am asking. And so once you write down your things, I wrote down, I can't say that one. I don't want to share that one. But there's some things that you don't want to share. There's some things that you can write that you don't have to share. So here's what I encourage you to do is it doesn't have to be in a journal. I just showed you which one I use. I use it, at church too sometimes, and I'll write down like things that I get from the sermon. But what I want you to do is take it. I want you to look at those scriptures. I want you to write down what you want out of life. Health, happiness, but be more specific. I want a healthy body, or I want not just happiness, but like I want to go, I want to feel good enough to go on a hike and not be out of breath. Like I went on a hike, last month with Bobby and Pixie, and I had my Apple Watch on and I was watching my heart rate. And I don't think my heart rate went below 125 the whole freaking hike. And by the end of it, like we weren't supposed to complain, and we were trying to get through it, and it wasn't in a real pretty place. I mean, it was okay. It was a nice day, but it wasn't like a real pretty place. And if you know me at all, like I'm about adventure. Like I want to go skydive, or I want to go, I want to do that kind of stuff, or I want to jump in a cave and snorkel. But this was like just like a hike. Like I could have walked around my backyard, right? And so we're sitting there, and I'm not trying to discredit hiking. I'm just saying this was my experience, okay? So we're on this hike, and by the end of it, like I thought it was a 2-mile hike, and it's like this 5-mile hike, and I have not been working out. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be okay. And I keep checking my heart rate, and I'm like, it is not going down. Like it's like 150, and then it's 125, and we're walking, like we're literally walking. And I'm like, finally, Pixie's trying to jump on me to get me to complain, and she's jumping on my back, and she's like, carry me, mama. And she's, 100 and something pounds, and, she's taller than I am. Finally, I just lose it. I'm like, I lose it. I'm like, I hate hiking. This is stupid. My heart rate has not gone down in over 2 hours. I feel like I'm going to literally explode as I'm on this trail. Like, I'm hot. I don't like it. Like, can we just get to the car? I just lost it. It was just one of those moments where you just lose it. And at that moment, I realized I did not like normal hiking. And that's okay. It's okay to not like stuff, right? But you find out what you like when you start to write stuff down and when you start to do stuff. So I have really learned that, I don't love a hike unless it's going to a really cool place, then I can jump off something. That's what I've learned. So I don't really want to be on a hike unless I can go to a cliff and I'm going to see something cool, or I'm going to be able to jump off into an underwater cave. Like that's what I know that I like. So it was just so much fun. It was so funny to see, I just totally lost my cool, lost it all, and was like, just get me to the car, get me to somewhere where I can get something to eat. Like that's what I was, and then it took forever. My heart was just going crazy. So my goal is health, complete health. That's my number one. So if I do go on a hike or have to walk somewhere, I don't have a heart about to explode. Health for family and Yellowstone trip. Bobby's big dream is a Yellowstone trip. And we actually finally booked that, and now I think we have to cancel it. So that's, been kind of sad, but I know it's on my list, so I know it's going to happen again. Pixie really wants to go to London because she's a huge Harry Potter fan. Some of this stuff can't happen all in a year, and that's okay. But how do we want it to look? How do we want our life to look in 10 years? Do we really want to go, I waited my entire life for retirement, and now I can do everything? If anything has taught you, in this time of where we have some quiet time, if anything has taught you, set some goals and go for them, because we don't know what tomorrow holds. Nobody knew that, we were going to be isolated, or, to try to stop something, we're all going to have to come together collectively to do this. Nobody knew that restaurants were going to start closing. Nobody knew any of this, even just a few days ago. Everything has progressed so rapidly. So what I want to encourage you today is to write down those 100 things. I am challenging you. And write down those 100 things. Ask for things. And then look at how you can go towards those things and start making yourself actually have a goal of, wait, this is something I really want to do. Me and Bobby have been very, very intentional, and we've been very sensitive of knowing that Pixie is graduating in 4 years. That has been very, especially this past year, with her in 8th grade, and she is going to high school next year. We have been very highly, people who have more than one kid, I hear it all the time. It just snuck up. I didn't even know, because they're dealing with more than one kid, and they know okay, they're coming through, and they're just, the busyness of life. Well, we have one kid. And so we have been very in tune to the fact that we have 4 years, and how can we make the most of this time with her, and how can we make the most fun experiences with her during this time, instead of all of a sudden, those 4 years have passed and we're like, dang it, all I did was work, or all I did was this, So even in Paint Party headquarters, I have a very strict Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, where I'm either doing paint parties in person, or I'm working on stuff online, or it's family time. It's very dedicated so that I can make sure that I have that time for Bobby and Pixie. Let's see. So go ahead and ask any questions, and then we'll finish up here. Susan says, what if I've already completed your list of 100 things? Oh my gosh, okay, Susan, high five. If you have already completed your list of 100 things, you need to start dreaming bigger, girl. Dream again. So now's your time to open up a new notebook and start again. Dream again. So this is the time when you can really put it out there. Don't think about money. Don't think about time. Don't think about anything. Literally just start writing. Write the things you want out of life. Write what you want to see happen. Allow this time of, maybe it's not so quiet at your house. Maybe all your kids are home and you're like, I'm freaking out. But allow yourself this time to dream and just write it out and ask God to help you. And so literally, like I said, John 14:13, John 16:23 through 24, Habakkuk, I think I said it right, 2:2. I don't think I said it right. All of those things. And then think about, yes, Tony, this is the one I did in January. And so some of y'all probably have done some of the, if you're in Paint Party headquarters, we talked about this in January. But I really want y'all to start dreaming and making this possible. And also to know that this time will pass. I know right now it seems like it won't, especially if you are staying glued to the news. You're pretty much thinking this is going to be forever. But you have to remember, this time will pass. And I also want to just remind you, it is so easy to have faith when everything is going good. But it takes really, really big strength to have faith when everything is starting, when it's hitting the fan, right? So I want you to really take on this challenge. And then also, Cindy says, if you finish the 100 things you want out of life, then write 100 things you're grateful for. Yeah, that's another thing too. Literally, be grateful right now. There's a lot of people, no matter how bad your situation is, there's somebody out there with it worse. I can guarantee you that. So find something that you are grateful for. And whether it's the fact that you found a piece of paper right now and you're going to have a minute to dream and talk about stuff, even though it might seem weird, and that you're dreaming about stuff like that. But really, really have this time, take time out. Again, it's been proven the people that write stuff down and write goals down are the ones that actually start to make a plan to make it happen. Let's see. Joan says, are you taking down the videos? Are you taking down the videos for the virtual paint party tomorrow? No, I wouldn't. No, I'm not taking those down. Is that what you're talking about? If you bought the virtual paint party stuff? No, you can have those for as long as you want. If you buy them, you have them. Annie says, should you list your top priority first and then your biggest dream. And it doesn't matter. Just start writing. Just start writing. Again, mine are all over the place. I don't even think I've hit 100 yet. I don't think I've hit 100 yet, but it is all over the place. It's family, it's health, it's business-wise, it's goal-wise, it's everything. I want you to mix it up. I want you to put what you want for your life. I want you to put what you want for your business. I want you to put what you want for your family. I want you to put what you want for yourself. Dream for yourself. Yes, I put the trip about Bobby with Yellowstone, but for the most of this, most of it's about what I want out of life, because we can only want for somebody else so much, but they got to take action. I mean, when it comes down to it, right? They have to take action. I can't really dream for somebody else. I can only dream for myself. So make sure you're making your list about things that you have control over. Let's see. Oh no, Joan, you have access. If you bought the virtual, a lot of people in Paint Party headquarters, we've been talking about pivoting and doing virtual paint parties, and so some of y'all have bought the virtual paint party trainings. No, you have those for life. You buy them and you get them. Let's see. What's another question? Love the grateful list I did. Yeah, definitely. If you've already conquered 100. Yes, start writing what you're grateful for. Dang, if you've already done 100 things that you wanted out of life, you should definitely write a thank you letter to God and be grateful, because that's awesome. Let's see. Heather says, I love being a part of this group. Thank you all. Oh, that's so cool. What a legacy to leave for your children. Yeah, that's the thing too. I think so many times we feel selfish about doing the things that we really want out of life for any reasons. There could be family pressures or whatever. And, you have to remember, everybody's living their life. Like, we sometimes put on all this guilt of like, I can't dream that big, or I can't do that because other people might not be able to do that, or I'm going to hurt their feelings because I'm able to do that and they're not. What I've learned is kind of the opposite, and I love Marianne Williamson, and I love her quote where she talks about when you start to share your light, you give people permission to share theirs. And so whenever you remember, like, we're not the star of somebody else's life, like we are our own starring player. Like, we're the player of our own life. So as much as you think that people might be looking at you and, oh my gosh, what is she doing? Or what is she doing? They might notice if you fail for a minute, like, Big Magic. I love that book so, so much. And it really freed me of this idea of failing in front of people, especially after going through bankruptcy and failing again and all of those things, and even building this online business and building Paint Party headquarters and building even Outer Limits. Like, there was so much fear in failing. I mean, when I got ready to launch Outer Limits, I mean, my stomach hurt. Like, I literally would do everything I could to not do the steps I needed to do, because I was so scared of failure. I was so scared I was going to do this and then nobody was going to sign up, or nobody wanted to learn from me. I mean, I just had all these fears, even though, for 6+ years, that's what I've been doing, is building, and I know it in and out, and I know, email marketing, and I know all of these things, but I was so terrified that nobody was going to, look at it or think, oh my gosh, who does she think she is? I mean, I just had all those feelings. And then I prayed and I said, God, just please, if 10 people will sign up for this, like, I won't feel like a massive failure. Like, I just had that, like, okay, if 10 people sign up, and then 95 freaking people signed up. And I was like, okay, God, you're telling me something here. Like, okay, I'll do this. Okay. And so it's just crazy, because now we're like at the end of it, and I'm not going to open Outer Limits again until 2021. And, the ladies in there are like, no, we can't have it finished. They're so excited. Like, they want to learn more, and they want, stuff. And I'm like, guys, this is stuff I've learned over 6 years. Like, I'm teaching you in 6 weeks. Like, it takes a while to digest. And so it's so crazy that we sit thinking like somebody's going to judge us, or somebody's going to look at us and go, they failed. Ha ha. Well, who cares? if anything, this epidemic that's going on, pandemic, however they're calling it, whatever's going on right now, if anything, it should say, I need to dream bigger. Like, I need to stop waiting and going, next time, next year, next month, like, I'll wait till I retire. Like, all of those things. If anything, it should tell you, like, how do I take this time to reset? Take this time to go, what do I really want out of life? Instead of, yes, I'm watching some Netflix, I'm not going to lie, and yes, I'm watching some Hulu, but in the midst of that, take time to dream. Take time to go, when this passes, because this will pass too. It will. I know right now it seems like it never will, especially when you're stuck, but it will. It will, and you want to be somebody when you're older and go, man, even if you are older now, like, what do you want? What do you want out of life? And write it down. Take time to dream. Write it down. Okay, let's see. I'm going to see if there's any questions. Donna says, you're right on speaking to me. Oh, good. And are you taking the challenge, Donna? Make sure you take the challenge. And Angie says, I'm one of those very happy of the 95. Glad you weren't too afraid, Heidi. Yes, I know, Angie. I mean, if I would have let fear stop me, like, I would have not gone through with it. And I wouldn't have been able to help the 95 of y'all that are in there. And, I would have, if I would have been I was terrified to launch Paint Party headquarters, totally terrified. And now we're like, we have almost 900 members. And if I wouldn't have took that leap, I wouldn't have known. And like I said, it all takes me back to that time when I was stripped, when I lost everything in bankruptcy. And, again, it's a different comparison. But I want you to know during this, like, you may be sitting there scared, but you have to remember, everybody is. Everybody. This isn't just a one-person thing. When I lost my house and when I lost everything, I thought I was the only person because I wouldn't talk about it. I was too embarrassed. Then, years later, I realized that everybody, millions of people did. Well, now we're talking about global. This just isn't just us. Schools are shutting down all over the world, not just in your town. So you have to remember that this just isn't about you. And so when this passes, and again, this too shall pass, when this passes and when we get back up on our feet and when you look back on this time and go, I just wasted it. I just binge watched every show. I ate all the potato chips I could find. I love potato chips, by the way, so I'm saying that because I probably need to slow down. I didn't take any action. I didn't allow myself to dream. I didn't allow myself to even put on paper because I felt like I wasn't worthy enough. Don't play that card. Don't be that victim. Dream. God wants good things for all of us. Okay? Dream. Renee says it's hard to dream for me sometimes. Yes, some of this will be this is why it's called a challenge. Some of y'all will have a challenge for this because you've never thought past things to help your family, or you've never thought past just helping your spouse, or you've never thought past, what you can do for others. But I am giving you permission right now to take a piece of paper, to take a notebook. You don't have to show anybody, but I want you to write down everything you want out of life, because life is short. We only have so much time. And if I don't get to Hawaii, I will cry like crazy, because that has been a huge dream of mine. Me and Bobby, since before we were married, we talked about living in Hawaii. So we've been watching the Hawaii life. We're like, okay, if we did move there, what could happen? How could we get our, we started dreaming about it and talking about it. And yeah, there will be a replay, Deborah. And we're doing a challenge. Shelly says, I was listening to Joel Osteen and he was saying you need to speak it into being. He said, read out loud what you want. So do more than write it down, speak it into being. I love that. So I'm a big, huge believer in writing it down, talking about it, praying for it, asking God for it. Like, expect miracles. And Gina says, it seems like my life doesn't allow me to clear my head enough to do lives. Yeah, lives are challenging. So I know I've been talking to a lot of y'all about pivoting and getting on a Facebook Live and doing a painted prayer or, a virtual paint party, stuff like that. And It is terrifying. I'm not gonna lie. When I first started doing Facebook Lives, the phone literally was shaking. And somebody asked me yesterday if I could try to find my first Facebook Live, and I will try my best to hunt it down. I don't even know if it's kept in there. I don't know if I deleted it. I don't even remember. But I do remember I was shaking so much. I was holding the phone and it was just like this the whole time, and it was terrifying. But sometimes, like even in the craziness, like right now we're in kind of a unique position where we have some time. Like things that we did have been canceled. Whether it's paint parties that you've had have been canceled, whether it's, you're going to a friend's party. I mean, the poor seniors that are excited about senior trips and senior prom and just all the things that come with that, that last, year of being a senior, of doing all of that school, and then they're so excited. A lot of that has canceled. And so a lot of times, we have to make time. We have to make time to clear our head, Gina and anybody else listening here, and then just move forward regardless. Take action scared. Just like when I did paint party headquarters, just like when I did my first paint party, just like when I set up that surfboard stand and I was literally nauseous and then nobody bought. And then I thought, oh my gosh, here I go again. Fail! Like how many times can I fail? But you have to do it scared because you don't know what's on the other side and you don't know what God is preparing you for. Heather says, I know I just have to do it. Yes, you have to do it. You just got to go for it. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, this will be on replay, so if you can't see it. Hello, Uncle Steve. My uncle's on here. Laura says, I'm so worried about my students. Yes, you can do a Facebook Live and maybe have a group where you go live for your students. So I know our school right now is, they're doing everything virtual. So next week, Pixie will actually log on and her teacher will be on their virtual. A lot of the stuff that, I do with y'all in Paint Party headquarters, they're going to be doing as well. So they're going to be teaching like that. So Laura, how can you help your students? And just so some of y'all know, like I know the seniors are probably really upset, but somebody asked me yesterday, like, what can I do for the kids that are really, freaking out about this? Well, I think the kids, like my 13-year-old anyway, she's hearing the conversation. She's seeing the news when we have it on for very short periods of time. So she knows what's going on, but I don't think they're taking it like we're taking it. So sometimes we think that the kids are like in this total freak out mode. Well, really, I mean, we're setting the tone, the energy of the house, and we're able to share, that it's going to be okay. Like, God's got this, like it's in control, and so I think sometimes we have to remember that, I was talking to Pixie about this and we were going to get her books today. And I said, so how are you feeling about all this? And she said, Corona vacation. And I was like, oh my gosh, so like, her and her friends, they don't know the gravity of it, I guess is what I'm saying. So, not to make light of it at all. I'm just saying a lot of the kids don't understand the gravity of it. And we get to feed them either positive energy through this, or we can feed them negative energy through this. And I choose to not make my daughter feel unsafe during this time. I choose to make her feel safe. I choose to of course keep her schooling going on, but the girl's been trying to, get me to be on board with her buying a hedgehog. So Pixie is literally she's the only child, so she's used to entertaining herself. But, she's made a hedgehog hammock. She's made hedgehog outfits. She's made PowerPoints to try to convince me to get a hedgehog. Like all of it, I'll make money to pay for it. And I'm just like, we're not getting a hedgehog, but there's things like that we can do to set the tone for our house. And yeah, the whole world is in the same boat. And Kim says, I'm 62. I feel like it's too late to start new, but for younger folks, it's such a great thing to do. Kim, I challenge that. I challenge that right now. And Kim, I say this with as much love as humanly possible. You are 62. I have people in Paint Party headquarters who are in their 70s who were, until, we had to start doing virtual, that throwing paint parties. So I challenge that. You are still a young chick. My grandma just turned 91. And so if you look at 62, 72, 82, 92, 30 years, my grandma's got 30 years on you. What do you want in the next 30 years? I'm 40. That's pretty much my whole life. Like, you have so much time. Do not sit here at age 62 and think, I can't dream. I can't do anything else. That is not true. And I say this with so much love. So anybody who's thinking, well, I'm 70, I'm too late to dream. No, you're not. Unless you're dead, you are not too late to dream. You have still time. You don't know how much time you have. And there's so many people that might be older that are in your thought. They're thinking that same thing. But guys, again, my grandma, 91 years old. I'm like, 62, 72, 82, 30 years. Do you really, we're still gonna, like, what if you live till 92? What if you live till 95? What if you even live till 75? That's still 13 years. What do you want out of 13 years? I don't know about you, but there are not enough shows on Hulu and Netflix to keep me busy. We might binge watch TV for a little while, but that's going to get really boring. That's going to get really old. So I want you to take this challenge and give yourself permission to dream. I'll read a couple more of mine because I don't share all of mine, but I'll read a couple more of mine. So Hawaii, with all the fun stuff. Like, I don't want to go to Hawaii and be like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. I want to go to Hawaii and like jump into the waterfalls. I want to go to Hawaii and feel like, I'm able to go paddleboarding whenever. Like, I want to like go to Hawaii and do it, like do it right. And again, this is a dream I have been talking about with Bobby since before we were married. And we've been married 22 years and I still haven't made it happen. I'm done. I'm done not making things happen. So I want you to take that approach too. No stress about money. That is a big one for me. Pretty much going bankrupt. Money was a huge stressor. Anybody else have stress about money? Money has been a huge stressor in my life. I don't want that. The reason I work so hard is so I don't have to stress about money. I don't want that stress in my life. And so that's one of my things on here, to be totally debt free. That's a big thing on my list. Paddleboard, fun on clear water. I don't want a paddleboard where I can't see anything. I want a paddleboard like crystal clear water, like very specific, clean, crystal clear water. Let's see. I want to have happy memories with Pixie and Bobby. I want to be a huge tipper. That is on my list. Like, every time I go to a restaurant, I want to be able to tip big because I know that person is working hard. Lynn says, I'm 67 and I'm going to do it. It's never too late. Yes, that is the attitude. Yes. I do think saying out loud will help. Yeah, like write it down and then say it. Say it out loud. I want to have, and this is a huge, that might take me 10 years to get. It might take longer, but I want to have a shared vacation home. I want to have a home that I've paid for that I can let my family go to and we can meet there. Let's see. Tiffany says, my senior has been mad for days now. I know, like, that's the thing we have to remember. We get into this victim mindset of it. It's only us. It's not only us. Like, we're all in this together. It's like the human equalizer. If you've ever, heard it before. It's a human equalizer. It's like, bringing us all back to the basics of what do we want out of this time? Let's see. Heather says, I keep my old artwork to show myself how much I've grown and improved. It's a real confidence boost. Yeah, it's so true. I keep records of a lot of things. So like I'll write, goals down. And then if I've met those goals, I'll write that what the date that I met them. And so then when I'm accomplishing a new goal or trying to accomplish a new goal, I go back and it gives me a confidence boost of, I did that. Okay. It can happen again. If I did it once, I can do it again. But you have to start somewhere. You have to try somewhere. And Trisha says, hey Heidi, I have a free Facebook Live scheduled for Saturday afternoon. This is just going to be a quick one as a public service. Hopefully they will enjoy it to do it again and pay. Oh, that's awesome. So, getting your virtual paint party started. And that can be scary. I know it can. Laura says, I teach kinders in an urban district. Many of them live in the projects and their school is the safe place. Yes, Laura, that is so scary. I've taught in different schools and I've taught in, title schools where, there wasn't food unless they came to school. That's where they got their food. So I know there's going to be many opportunities for people to outreach during this time. So yes, so I know, be praying for your kids, all of those things. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Oh, I love this. I'm 60 and I can do it. You can too. Yes. And Melissa says, I had a 94-year-old painter attend one of my parties. Oh my gosh, I love that. When I was at the Southern Adornments event, we had a lady, and I think she said she was in her late 80s. Anyway, she was the sweetest woman, and she was like, I only live a couple hours from Dollywood, so if you want my help, I'll come over and I'll help you all I can. And I just hugged her. I was so happy. But she was there with her daughter painting and still doing fun stuff. Kim, I am 55 and taking on this challenge with an open heart. Oh my gosh, I love all the support you are giving Kim. And Kim, the only reason I said anything is because I love you and you have a full lifetime ahead of you. I mean, 62 to someone who's my grandma's age at 91, you are a baby. You are a baby. You have decades left. So don't sit there and go, oh, I can't do this. It's never too late to dream. It's never too late to ask God for what you want. Let's see. Michelle says, I lead a monthly paint party and one of my regular attendees is turning 100 this month. Dang, I don't know if I want to live that old. That's old. Wow. And she's still out there partying it up at a paint party. I like that. Lynn says, not too late unless it's too late. Yes. Oh my gosh, these comments are giving me ideas. Yeah, let's real quick before I end this, really quick, I want you to write down one of your dreams because I want people to see that you can dream big. So I want you to take a minute and just write down one of your dreams. So I've told you several of mine. Huge tipper. I want to go to Sweden in the summertime. Because I saw the Amazing Race episode where they did the paragliding and they did so many cool things. I want to, make sure all my bills are always paid ahead of time. I want to have a desire. This one's a big one for me, and it might take 20 years to complete. But I want to have a desire. Not only a desire, but time and a desire to want to cook for my family. That is one of my goals, okay? Because I don't like cooking. And when I did kind of like cooking, I had a drink with it. So I would have a beer, or I would have a glass of wine, and then it just kind of made it a moment to de-stress. Well, now that I don't drink, I don't ever want to cook. It's not even it doesn't feel fun to me. That's when I would have my glass of wine and I would crank up my music and I would just cook. And now I'm I don't want to drink a ginger ale. This is stupid, And so I don't have any desire to cook. And so one of my goals and my prayer is that I will have that desire back. Let's see. Betty says our presidential candidates are all elderly and each is applying for the most high pressure job in the world. Yes, there's evidence everywhere. It is not too late to dream. We are at a reset. We are at a spot where we can take a minute, breathe. Everybody take a deep breath. Take a minute to breathe, reset. What do you really want out of the next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years? I know I am not going to accomplish all of these in a year. I know I'm not going to accomplish all of these in 5 years. I know that this list is going to ever change as I, mature and, cross some off and get some, done. I know it's going to change, but you've got to start somewhere. So instead of the mentality of, want, it's all over as we know it, take this time to really think about what you want. What do you want? Let's see. I'm claiming 104 in my mind and health. Oh my gosh, so you're heading to 104. You want to go to 104. Angela says, my husband's grandmother is still roller skating at 70. I want to meet her so bad, Angela. That's who I want to be. I want to be rollerblading with my bell bottoms on. Oh my gosh. And when's the challenge for this deadline? So I'm going to give you a challenge of, today is Wednesday. So I'm going to give you the challenge of Friday. So you have until Friday to do this challenge, okay? And for the chance to win the gift card. If you don't do it by Friday, it's okay. The point is you were going for it. You were trying to do this. Like I said, I have not got to my 100 yet. I'm still hoping y'all give me some ideas on the thread here. Money is one of my biggest stressors. Yes, so what can you write down? What kind of things can happen? Oh, thank you, Lynn. She says you're so cute. Yeah, watch for the side of my face. It gets weird sometimes. Marta says, I don't know you in person, but I love you. Thanks for everything you do. Oh, I love you too. Thank you so much for saying that. You either love me or hate me. There's really not a middle ground. Let's see. Deborah says, I get so excited from you. Oh, that's so good. Renee says, I'm 60 as well, but maybe too slow. But going maybe too slow. Renee, here's the thing. Your dreams and your what am I trying to say here? Your definition of success and my definition of success can be totally different. Your definition of what you want out of life should be totally different than your neighbors, than your friends, than your family. And what you think is successful can be totally different than what I think is successful. Does it make yours right and mine wrong? Does it make mine right and you're wrong? No, it does not. So if you're, like me, I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie. I love, doing crazy things. But some people hate that, just like I hate doing that hike. Like, hated it with a passion, threw a fit like a 2-year-old, right? So it's okay, but I found out I didn't like that. I found out I need an end goal. I need something to jump off of. I need to, I need something else. But your definition might be like, that is the perfect day for you. Whatever it is, maybe you want to read, 5 books in the next 3 months. Maybe that's your definition of, a happy, successful life. And that is fine. Like, I love reading books. I have several books right now I'm trying to work on. It's just really hard. I probably should have downloaded the audio version so I could paint towards it, paint while I'm doing it. But everybody's definition is different. I want to just remind y'all of that. And yeah, a lot of schools are providing food for kids, which is really great. Lower my level of anxiety. Helen, I'm writing that one down on mine right now. I've been very open to y'all. Thanks for that idea. Lower my anxiety. I've been very open with y'all that like most of my life I feel like I'm a wet chihuahua just running around like this. Maybe it's the high heart rate. Maybe it's the coffee. I don't know. I probably need to calm down on my coffee. But that's a great one. Anything like that you want to do. And Deborah wants to be debt free. Gina does too. Let's see. Cindy says, I would love to stay the week in a Hobbit house. That's a fun one. Bobby would love that. And Laura says, I want to take each of my sons on a trip with just the 2 of us. That is such a great goal. And Trisha says, live in a log home by the lake. See, now you've written it. Now you can start dreaming about it and asking God for it and figuring out a way to do it. And let's see. My desire comes and goes. Yeah, so our desire will come and go, and things will change. Motivation is, people say, I'm going to wait till I'm motivated. That's bull crap. Like, if you've ever listened to Mel Robbins' 5-second rule, motivation, it comes and goes. Like, we'll have a bunch of drive and then we won't. And then we'll have the motivation. Like, you can't count on motivation. You have to count on habits. So you really have to, write it down, make a plan, and then go for it. And Kelly says, travel to Australia and scuba dive the Great Barrier Reef. Oh my gosh, I want to do that too. And make sparkling cider. Oh man, my mouth's watering. I want to do that too. And get your family on board cooking with you. Yeah, that's kind of hard. That's going to be a challenge, Renee. I'm going to try that, but yeah, it's really hard. And then I did try the Instapot, and that went south too. I almost blew up my house, I think. We did 3 recipes, and 1 turned out of 3. So I did go back to the crock pot, so I am trying that. And Angela says, a dream of mine is to stay at the beach house for a week with my family. That's an awesome dream. I want to take a vacation with my husband, Samantha says. Melissa says, I want to be debt-free and then help my 5 siblings do the same. How cool is that? So Melissa, I really encourage you to to focus on your stuff first, because what'll happen is once you become debt free, we can't force other people to make their dreams happen. Like as much as we want, and we can't do that, right? I mean, everybody's in control of their own life. All we can do is have control over what we want to accomplish. So, so this is a good example. So, we had our gym membership to the YMCA, and, I had a couple family members, one including my husband, that I was like, yes, we're going to go every day. We're going to get up. Well, when his motivation breaks and he's like, I'm going to sleep in an extra 30 minutes, guess what? Now I'm like, okay, I will too. Well, I cannot count on somebody else to make my dreams happen. If I want my body to be more healthy, if I want my heart rate to not rest at 144 beats per minute, I need to get some cardio going. Like I need to make that happen for myself. I cannot depend on my husband's motivation, my friend's motivation, my family's motivation. So yes, it is a great thing to want your siblings to be debt free, but it's even a better thing to do it and then be an example for them to look at. And then when they're ready, guess who they're going to ask for help? They're going to say, Melissa, can you please help me? How did you do this? How are you going to all these vacations? Because you were able to pay off your debt. Elaine says, I'd like to go back to Bermuda for a long vacation. I lived there as a kid. Oh my gosh, I would love to go there. I've been to Bahamas. My parents took me when I was younger, and I went when I was in my early 20s, and I love the Bahamas. It's so beautiful, and I'm sure Bermuda looks like that too. Let's see, Patricia says, I'm going to stand up for a minute. Starting to look up is hurting my neck. And Patricia says, well, I just had 2 knee surgeries and I want to be able to take a bike ride on my bicycle. First, have to get tires on. Yeah, I have an awesome bike I bought right after Pixie was born. And now I still have that bike, but it's a really great one, but it like the tires lose its air all the time. So I need to get that fixed. And Patricia says, I want to go to Colorado. Lakila says, Heidi, no touchy your facey. I know, I'm like all over touching my face. I know I should not be touching my face, but I did wash my hands before this, but my cell phone's probably been everywhere. So that's true. How do we let you know? So Elaine, what we're going to do is I'm going to do a post. I'm going to have a post and I'm going to say, post if you took the 100 thing challenge, right? Then you're going to either post a picture. This is going to be the honor system, so don't be lying. It's a $25 gift card, so it's not like, $1 million or anything. So please use the honor system. So in a little bit, I am going to post a picture that says, did you take the challenge? Post below your picture. You can take a picture of, maybe you write it out. Maybe, y'all are artsy here. Maybe you get out a big poster board, which I kind of want to do, and write it in fun Sharpies or markers. Maybe you get your family. So, I had Pixie do this too back in January. So she has things that she's written out. So this can be a whole family event if you want it to. But have your family jump in if you want. But I strongly advise you that you do separate lists, okay? Don't do one collective family thing, because then you kind of put yourself off the hook, right? We want to be very clear. We want to pray for these things. We want to ask God to help us. We want to remember those scriptures that I told y'all at the beginning. So be very clear. Yes, it's okay, to have your family be involved and have them write their own list. But I strongly encourage you to write your own list. Kind of like the same thing with the gym. Bobby, are you coming? No, I'm going to sleep in today. Well, I'm not going either. So have your own list and have your family have their own list. So then you'll post a picture, Elaine, saying, I did the challenge. And then on Friday, I will tell a winner. So you have today, tomorrow, and half of Friday. Let me see. I'll try to go live don't hold me to it, but I'll try to go live at noon on Friday. Let's see. I want to get my house paid off. Oh my gosh, sun is finally out in Kansas. Thank God for that. I know everybody's wanting some sunshine. Let's see. Let me go through here. Rhonda says, I never want to have cancer again. I am claiming it. Oh, I love that. Write it down. Write it down. Health. You want help. Take my daughter to Paris. Oh my gosh, that would be so fun. Let's see. Have a nice small home by the water. Wendy wants financial freedom. Michelle wants, and some of you are like, I don't even know what to dream for. We have a list going right now. Maybe you read one of theirs and you write it down just like this one. Lower my anxiety. I wrote that one down. I was like, yeah, that sounds good to me. Michelle, I want to go see the Grand Canyon with my husband. Patricia says, my biggest dream has always been to have my art in an art gallery. So how can you start taking steps to do that, right? You gotta start creating a lot of art and then finding the right people to talk to. And Deborah, I have an unusual one. I got myself so tied up time-wise on 3 booths. Now I am now going down to 2 and may even go down to 1 and do more paint parties and virtual parties. Yeah, so again, now's the time to reset. Some of y'all may be thinking like, I want something different out of life. Like I've been doing the same old. Like how can I, go for my dreams? I'm not saying like, quit your jobs and do all that, like make a plan. I never am a person that just quits a job. Like I always make a plan, especially after doing the bankruptcy stuff. Like I was like never, like even whenever I decided to go full-time paint parties and quit my teaching, I pretty much had full-time paint parties before. So I was doing 2 full-time jobs to make sure I wasn't going to put my family in a bad situation. Let's see. Renee says, Renee's starting to dream. Yes, let's give Renee a like or some claps. Renee's starting to dream. I'm going to build a barn dominium. Those things are cool. I pray so. That is awesome. And then Trisha says, all things are possible through God. So I just want to leave you with this. I want y'all to take this challenge. I will take this challenge. I'm going to give a gift card away on Friday. Just randomly, I'm going to ask Alexa to choose a number, and I'm going to count down to who all does it. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to post a picture and says, whoever took the challenge, make sure you put your picture below here. I'll tag it to the top in the announcements. JJ's in Granbury tonight. That's awesome. I just saw you too. I just saw you at Tamara's thing. That's awesome. I want you to, say if you take the challenge, I want you to post a picture of part of what you're writing. I want you to just dream. Allow yourself a chance to dream. And to remember, it is easy to have faith when things are going smooth. It is so much harder to have faith when things are like this. When we are in a time, and I want you to remember too, that you can have that time. You can be scared. You can allow yourself time to cry, to be upset, to not like what is happening right now. That is okay. But then I want you to pick yourself back up, and I want you to dust yourself off, and I want you to take this challenge and dream again. And what do you want life to look like a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? We all have to take the first step somewhere. So anyway, I hope this encourages you. I hope this helps you, and I hope you will take the challenge. So I'll see y'all soon. And you're never, the 62-year-old on here, you are never too late to start, okay? So make sure you start it and start dreaming. All right, I'll see y'all soon.